Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geeky Geezers.
Giggity giggity.
Yes, you see, like there's the suicide. Well, I can't say that word, can I? The blank
It's
squad.
funny. We can't even talk about a damn movie title for crying out loud.
Well, this is where we are. Thank you, Susan. Anyway, I am your host, Agent Boomer. This is my co-host, PaPa Pacelli.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are y'all doing tonight?
You might want to front load this by asking what I'm sipping on, and we should warn everybody.
What are you sipping
You're afraid
on?
to ask, aren't you?
What are you sipping on?
I have released the Kraken. We actually ran out of soda. The only thing I have is my reserve of tab. So Netter threw a couple tabs in the thing, and I was like, I'm not going to go into it. I just talked with Boomer about it in the green room, but I've had a challenging weekend. Let's just say computer issues, a lot of them. And, I have drunk heavily this weekend, and this is my last one, and I'm having a tab and Kraken. So it's going to be an interesting stream, guys, I think.
This is why you need to get a Nintendo Switch, and then you can enjoy yourself, and then eventually complain about Joy-Con drift.
I don't even know what that is.
Joy-Con drift, I haven't run into it yet, knock on wood, but apparently there's like a thing where like the sticks end up sticking or something, and like the camera, when they're not supposed to, and they're sort of like a lawsuit against Nintendo. See, even Nintendo ain't perfect, and you're having mouse trouble.
I'm sorry, I was just distracted. Horizon Talker. Wow, coming in hot, Troy. Yes, I am.
All right.
It's going to be an interesting stream. We don't have a lot of topics, not a lot of big ticket topics, but we got a lot to say.
Okay. Listen.
Are you sipping on something interesting?
No, not tonight. I was last night.
2 nights in a row. You're turning into an alky, my friend.
Okay, yes. I am sipping on a Snapple watermelon lemonade, because of course there's water in lemonade. Here's the fact of tonight. Your eye expands up to 45% when looking at something pleasing.
Which is the exact opposite of what your butthole does.
Okay. You know something? Rosefire, do we know any good drinking songs? I know of one, okay?
Show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had me a little drink about an hour ago, and it's gone right to my head. Was that the one you were thinking of?
No, I was thinking, down on the farm, the chickens ask for you. The chickens ask for you down on the farm. That
sounds like a commercial jingle.
Will you let me finish?
Sorry.
Down on the farm, the cows ask for you. The cows ask for you. Down on the farm. You understand? You switch out the word "ask" with.
I'm sorry, I don't know that one.
Okay, well, it's a new.
I don't know. Do I know any other drinking songs? Loo-I, whoa, I said to me, gotta go. Yeah. That's yeah.
Oh, I forgot I can put these on.
Speaking of which, we'll be watching Animal House in 2 weeks on Netter's Network. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, Animal House will be fun. Autodress says Joy-Con drift seems to happen a lot on the PS4 thumbsticks. I had to replace my controller 5 times. I love that. I remember back in the days, because I was usually a Nintendo guy, but the Xbox 360 came out and everybody was raving about it, thinking, maybe I'll go Microsoft this generation. I was over my friend Chuck's house, and he's like, I have this Xbox 360, and he's like, this is like the fifth one. This is like the fifth one I'm on, and like, oh wow, how did that happen? Red. What is the red light of death or something they called it? And I looked online, and this was a common problem.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Xboxes kept breaking on people, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy something that's breaking on me, even if I could send it to Microsoft to get fixed.
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating.
I think someone over there at the company said it's cheaper just to see if people send it in for repairs than to try and do a correction on the thing and just re-up the whole model. Oh.
So I'm going to Shanghai you and go back and say hi to all the people in the stream, because I super appreciate them all for being here. And we're going to start with Horizon Talker because he was first. And then some goofball named Aged Boomer is, taking up space.
Yeah, whatever.
And then Auditor Dread, how you doing, my friend? Rosefire, Yeah, I'm fired up too. We're gonna have a good time. And I'm gonna, just because I like him a lot, I'm gonna say hi to Horizon Talker again, and another goofball named Troy. Screw him. Zootopia. Hi everybody. Yeah, good to see you, man. And Rosefire, you're sweet enough to say hi to again. Joshua V, good to see you. And am I missing anybody? Okay, I think I've hit everybody.
Auditor Dread.
Didn't I say Auditor Dread?
I don't know
sorry,
if you
man.
did, but I'm saying him in case you didn't.
In fairness, I am well into this drink. I'm about halfway through this drink, so I am. But I think if I missed anybody, just type a note and say hi, Troy, so I can acknowledge you. Yes, this is Kraken, Troy. You must have joined us late. You must have, or weren't listening. Yep, I have released the Kraken. It has been a challenging weekend for the Troyster, and I just needed to.
Well, we're gonna have some fun tonight.
Well, Boomer,
everybody
tell me about the good old days.
Can you do that again?
Well, Boomer, tell me about the good old days.
Good, I wasn't talking over you there, so.
Oh, I guess you wanted to be able to clip that, right? Okay,
that might be a good one just to use on its own. Maybe I'll get rid of the old one I've been using. Yes, we're going to talk about the good old days, but we're going to talk about kind of a scary subject matter. We're going to talk about the Amityville Horror.
Ah, jeez. So those of you that weren't there last night on Netter's Network, and if you weren't there, why weren't you there? We missed you. But over on Netter's Network, we did a rewatch last night of the original Amityville Horror with the lovely Margot Kidder and that Harry Brolin guy. And the story that I often tell, and if you guys follow me, and if you're not following me, why aren't you following me? But you should. I think you should. I think I put out good content. I often say that this was a scary movie when I was a kid. It really bothered me. And when Nanette and I first got married, I said, I want you to watch this movie with me. It's scary. I know you don't like scary movies, but I want you to watch this with me. It'll kind of give you some insight into my psyche, things that scare me, and so forth, right? And I'll be right here with you. Don't worry. We were halfway through the movie, and she's like, have we gotten to the scary part yet? And I'm like, honest, this was a scary movie when I was a kid. I was like 8, 9 years old. This scared the crap out of me. But as an adult, especially as a homeowner, the only thing scary about it is buying a money pit and being, over your head in a mortgage, That's what that movie's about.
Well, Rosefire said, well, I don't like horror. You guys have found this topic, and I'll be tuning for the next one. Rosefire, I have to say, this is a true story. This isn't just horror. This really happened. This isn't some spooky story.
The people actually existed. People with those names actually existed.
Okay.
DeFeo and so forth. They all actually existed. That's true.
I think you're a little bit older than me, right? Were you around when this was happening live, and you heard stories on the news about it?
Well, probably, but it didn't mean much to me because, this was New York news, right? This wasn't Chicago news for me, so I wasn't paying much attention to it. I kind of came to this story the same way most everyone did, where, they put out this book and it's based on a true story about, this haunted house and the murders that happened there and da-da-da-da. And I read the book and it scared the crap out of me. Now, how did little 8-year-old Troy get his hands on this book? Well, Mom bought the book and she read it. So I grabbed it and I read it and holy crap, and growing up, I went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic upbringing. So this kind of stuff really, this could totally happen, right? And then they do the movie, and I'm, but
because you're seeing it all for real, like when the little girl says, "You scared Jody. She went out the window. Oh, let me go out and look." And Margaret goes, "Oh," and then you see the 2 little red eyes in the window,
right?
Like, ah!
and you see this from the point of view of a kid, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, the father's so mean and everything." And da, da, da. But then you see it as an adult, and you're like, "That little kid's a little brat. No wonder he's getting pissed off. And, the money goes missing, and, the walls are dripping sewage, and everyone's getting sick from the smell, and it's attracting flies, and they got all these, and the drafty damn house, and the stress. And yeah, I totally understand him getting upset. I would be outside chopping wood trying to let off some steam myself.
They threw
for crying out loud.
This movie, we were watching it last night. It'd been a while. I forgot it goes on for 2 hours. That's too long.
The only thing that I thought watching the movie that I was like, okay, come on, man, get your head in the game. You're married to someone that looks like Margot Kidder, who's in her undies, doing stretches and ballet and, topless and everything. Come on, you got it good. All this other stuff, who cares, right? But then you start to think, well, wait a minute. This is a dramatization of real people, and the real people didn't really look like this. And okay, never mind.
No, it's funny because I saw the remake. I was actually watching a little bit of the remake for the stream, and they have Ryan Reynolds and Melissa George, and I'm like, oh, Ryan Reynolds, he's a good looking man, right? And he had that's when he had the abs when he was younger, and
yeah,
maybe he still has them, I don't know. But and then he was married, and he's married to Melissa George, who. I don't know. She's an English actress, but she's nice.
Is she attractive?
Okay? Yes.
I saw the movie and I don't frickin' remember her. That's,
I knew her from various television shows. She was on a season of Alias, actually. And very good looking woman, and it's. You look at the couple in real life, and they don't really look like that.
Oh, absolutely.
We had James Brolin in the original one. Everyone's overacting in that movie. Rod Steiger just screaming at the other priest, saying, "I have to help the family," and and he's yelling at God and all this other stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, come on, it's so bad." What else is going on? You have the psychic woman, and then she's like, cover it up, and her voice gets all distorted. But when you're a kid, you're seeing this stuff, and of course you see. Being sensationalistic, this is based on a true story. You're like, what?
So
your eyes get all wide.
So yeah, no. You made a very good point there, Boomer, and we got to cover that again because we talked about this. You work in the library system. You know this. The book, right on the spine, it says. I mean, if you classify this by the Dewey Decimal System, It has to go in nonfiction because it's classified as nonfiction. And that's very misleading because, as you yourself pointed out, this family reported on this, but that's the only evidence that we have that this happened. This is their story based on what they said, and we're just taking them at their word. The other element of it is then it becomes a Hollywood film, and the director and the writer and everything, they take their creative license too. So we're watching this movie saying it's based on a true story, but it's a fictionalized version of a story that may be fiction to begin with, for all we know. There's all these layers of fiction put onto, like what I said, if you strip away all of that, what you probably have is a couple that bought a house that's got a sewage problem. The house is drafty. They can't afford to get the place fixed. Then her brother loses $1,000 before, his wedding. He misplaces it somewhere. They have money problems. They end up getting divorced because of their all these issues that they're having. Let's blame it on evil spirits,
Oh, Mr. Mesa, so it's like calling 300 a historical movie. Troy would probably argue that's more realistic than the Amityville Horror.
Now, let me preface this with any realistic person knows that the stories that we know of the Battle of Thermopylae are legendary. We know that they can't be taken at their word. However, as far as history goes, that is the closest you can get to, you kind of got to take the word of those that wrote the history. I mean, we can assume that it was, maybe embellished a little bit, but when you get right down to the comic you put aside the extravagance of the tone and the look of the film and the story, the basic points of the story are right out of Herodotus.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah. You know, I mean, if this film, if this Amityville Horror was point for point what was in the book, well, you can't blame the director, right? You could blame the DeFeos for, extrapolating the story, but you can't blame the director. But the director takes and elevates it a little bit more,
Oh, what? And well, actually, this isn't funny. There actually was a murder that happened in the house before the family
Yes,
moved in.
that is absolutely true.
And I was watching. I'll say this: I kind of miss some of the old days of DVD when the studios would actually put out some neat features on their regular releases, and they had a feature where they were talking about the actual DeFeo family murders on it, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing was actually very curious. Okay, they say that all the family members were all face down in the same position before they were shot. Okay, and
which isn't how they depicted it in the film. Just pointing that out.
Yeah, well, okay, well they got that wrong then. Anyway, but the point was is that they said they were all still basically. So you think if one person got shot, the other would at least get up and move around or figure what's that, but that didn't happen here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's no silencer used on the gun, so I don't know. But that is a bit odd. I'll say that.
There's a lot of details that I think are probably missed. You'd really have to dig into it. The other thing is, did you watch that video that I gave you the link for?
I did. The Red Room. A
little different than it was depicted in the film.
Okay, so what was she saying? She was the current resident, right? Or we used to live, and we just played in here, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm gonna say, I would expect maybe someone who belonged to a certain kind of forbidden sect to maybe say that and lie to the audience like that.
Oh, you got to be careful saying stuff like that, man.
Kidding.
Because
I'm just fooling.
Somebody could
just fooling.
But seriously, I mean, it's literally just a little room under the stairs, and there's nothing. I mean, I honestly thought, based on the movie, there's that scene where he's coming down the stairs, he falls through the stairs, and he ends up in this puddle of sewage, right? Well, in reality, that's not there. That did not happen. That is entirely a fabrication for the film. And my thought was, oh, that's kind of weird, but I could believe it, that the septic tank was under the stairs. Okay? But no, that was not the case at all.
It's the black blood of the earth, and he's falling into it, and he's getting all covered up.
For F's sake.
Okay.
Dude, I am not drunk enough for that kind of crap.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about the sequel? Because there was a sequel made to the movie that was actually a prequel, right? We talked a little bit about that, but we told.
Dude, you probably don't want me talking about that sequel. You really, in my condition, with Nanette listening, I probably should not be talking about this sequel.
Okay, well, let's just say there's a scene.
I will say this. This is what I will say.
Get a little too close, okay?
Yes, and the fact is, talk about taking license. The age difference between those two characters, in reality, as opposed to that film, very, very different. Does not work. It totally doesn't work. But yeah, I will say, young pubescent Troy enjoyed that movie. Let's just say.
Oh no, let's not go there. Anyway, movie. Maybe okay.
I liked when R-rated movies were R-rated movies for more than just the gore.
Well, I want to say something. We keep saying R-rated. The original Amityville Horror, I would catch it on Saturday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe they had to cut out a couple scenes. Maybe the dream sequence of Margot Kidder imagines James Brolin cutting into her
the
head
axe into her head. Yeah,
and
the scene of her doing her stretches was probably cut out.
That's probably not in the television version. Maybe they. Of course, the movie was 2 hours, so you could probably cut a lot out of that movie and you wouldn't know it was gone. But anyway.
Wait, Auditor Dread is asking if I am drunk enough to talk about Highlander the Quickening. I don't have to be drunk enough to rant a little bit about Highlander the Quickening. Maybe I'll make that a Friday stream sometime. I will not be doing a rewatch of it, but I'd be happy to rant about it.
We should do a you know what I'm going to do next time he shows up from a Latino slant a little tipsy. I'll say next week we're doing Highlander the Quickening rewatch,
and I won't know the difference.
I'm sorry.
That's how he got me to watch Roadhouse. Oh, you son of a gun!
I like
drunk Troy. That's what you were going to say.
Well, I was going to say I like Michael Ironside in Highlander the Quickening. Whatever you want to say.
I like Michael Ironside in anything he does. He's
villain.
The only thing good about Highlander 2.
Yeah, he
You know,
is.
he makes every movie he does great.
He should have been in a regular Highlander movie as the villain, not that crap sequel. But I was gonna say though, they had all these guys that played villains in these Highlander movies, they end up playing voices of villains on DC cartoons. I've noticed, like Clancy Brown was Lex Luthor, and
That's right.
Michael Ironside was Darkseid. Okay, so you end up seeing.
Oh, I didn't know that, but that is perfect casting.
Oh, perfect.
Michael
casting.
Ironside. I used to say that Michael Ironside was the poor man's Jack Nicholson. I felt like whenever they wanted to cast Jack Nicholson and couldn't afford him, they got Michael Ironside.
Maybe.
But many years down the line, as I look back, I think Michael Ironside was way better than Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson was a one-trick pony, and Michael Ironside could be the villain. He could be the hard-nosed heroic character, and anything in between. Yeah,
he could be. He could be a hero.
Jack Nicholson, I never could buy as heroic in any way. Even in the Two Jakes, even in Chinatown, I didn't like him. He was still an asshole.
It's not that kind of. Probably the most heroic I saw him in was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, maybe. But even that, he's still kind of.
Yeah, but he's more of a victim of circumstance than he is heroic.
Exactly. Yeah. But I did want to say though, Michael Ironside, I have to say he was almost I want to say he's metal without maybe not even realizing it,
Yeah. No, that's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
Could you imagine if he was in a heavy metal band, or at least just standing there?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when his hair was long. Oh man, okay.
And you can't talk about Michael Ironside without bringing up V the Final Battle. I mean, that was just, he made that whole sequel miniseries. He really did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Michael Ironside, he did play the voice of Sam Fisher in the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell video games. I kept hoping, they said they were going to do a Splinter Cell movie around the time of those games because they were popular. It was basically in the Tom Clancy, the Jack Ryan universe, but he was like a special ops spy type. His thing was stealth, okay?
I can see that.
Going in silently, knocking out or killing if he had to the bad guys.
Yeah.
But around that time, he was like around the right age as Sam Fisher in the games, because Sam Fisher was an older character, which is kind of interesting in a game you're playing an older man who's more experienced. And I was thinking if they had made it around the time of the games, he could have played Sam Fisher himself live action, I thought. And that would have been really neat. But anyway.
But let's face it. I mean that could be a whole show in and of itself, talking about film adaptations of games, which face it has is a mixed bag, mostly to the negative.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But
yeah,
anything left to say on Amityville Horror that we didn't cover last night?
No, but I would encourage you, if you want to do a rewatch of Amityville Horror, having rewatched it a couple times, you might enjoy our commentary more than the film itself. So make sure you go over to Netter's Network, subscribe and hit the like button, and queue up your copy of Amityville Horror and hear what we had to say about it last night.
Yeah, I went ahead and put a link in the stream. I'll also put one after the stream. I'll put one in the description too.
Awesome.
But what was I going to say, though? But I'm going to say this about Amityville Horror.
It was a comedy, Netter's saying. Well, it was a comedy the way we commented on it, for darn sure. I got a lot of laughs out of last night's rewatch. It's definitely worth it.
It's kind of funny. Ryan Reynolds in the remake, he's still playing evil George Lutz, but he has a sense of humor about it sometimes. Like, there's one scene in the beginning when, like, the kid walks into the room when him and the wife are beginning to fool around. And he says, "What are you doing to my mom?" And he says, "Nothing." And then he whispers,
"Nothing."
And then he whispers, "Yet."
That isn't that so him? I mean,
it's so him.
This is why he is such a great Deadpool.
Oh, perfect Deadpool. I have to say, I do hope they do make that third one. I will see it. Okay, if they can just give him full reign. That's how you make some money, Disney.
I do have to rewatch that god-awful Wolverine film that's got him in it, because
that would be a good rewatch.
that is him so wanting to play Deadpool, but like
they're not letting him.
His soul just dies, when he's like, and he even said, he's like, the fans are going to go nuts. Yeah, right? No, not in a good way.
I can see. No, probably when you said that, I was like, I bet Hugh Jackman was also wanting to play Wolverine, and they wouldn't let him. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
I have to tell you, he made those X-Men movies. Hugh Jackman, he added a
Well,
lot.
this
to those
is what
movies.
gets me about people like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I love the way they rip on each other because if you kind of look past that, not only must they be friends in real life, they really care about the source material that they're representing. Yes. You know, they get it. They get it more sometimes than the directors they're working with. You know. I mean, that's what's really, really sad. And that's probably why I respect Ryan Reynolds so damn much. Because he's right in there with us. You know, hell, he does films where he's making commentary, talking directly to the fans, saying, I'm with you on this, guys.
There's so many jokes in Deadpool 2 at the end, if you watched at the end, and he making fun of the Green Lantern thing,
yeah,
making fun of X-Men Origins Wolverine, and just basically almost apologizing to the audience for that movie.
It's like he's saying, look, guys, I know exactly what you're upset about, and I'm there with you. As opposed to all these other assholes in Hollywood that are, you know, these fans are all toxic and blah, 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 blah. Ryan Reynolds is like, Nah, guys, I'm right there with you. I get what you're saying.
He's funny. I'm sorry. Okay, so we have to get to our first news topic of tonight, but it comes with a preface.
Have we been putting it off?
We have been.
Yeah, I think we have.
This is a light night, but that's probably for the best.
That's
anyway.
Fair.
Well, actually, I'm going to maybe get on a nasty rant now. Okay, so let me put myself back in my mindset on Wednesday. Okay, I come home from work, and Daniel Heron, Birdman. He's got the soundtracks of Birdman on Wednesday, and we were doing a rewatch of Star Trek Insurrection, the third TNG film. Okay,
not a bad film.
Not bad. I don't hate. I'll say this: that movie does get a lot of hate. Okay. Yeah. That I think is kind of undeserved. It's not the best Star Trek movie.
In fairness, it's a little bit weak as a film goes.
Yeah,
but it's. I mean, I've heard it described as a Star Trek The Next Generation episode that took 2 hours. If that's the worst you can say about it, I'd say they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's fine. But anyway, I don't actually own any of the TNG movies, okay? But what do I need
You're not a Star Trek fan. Sorry, I'm just playing with you.
I am of the original crew. Anyway, no. To be fair, TNG grew on me, and Deep Space Nine I liked, but I just never got around to getting them. But anyway, what do I need to own them for? Because I am a subscriber to Paramount Plus, the home of Star Trek. Just a few weeks ago, we did Star Trek First Contact. Nice.
Star Trek is homeless.
Just listen to me. Star Trek First Contact.
Listen to my rant, he says.
I'm gonna get mad in a minute. I was mad the other night. I guess I've calmed down. Anyway, so this is what I was like. I go on Paramount Plus, type in Star Trek Insurrection. Star Trek First Contact was on there a few weeks ago. Type in Star Trek Insurrection. I think, am I spelling insurrection wrong? Why isn't it showing up? Did I miss the colon?
I love that he questions his spelling.
Because I'm like, where is it? I just type in Star Trek, and all I'm seeing is I think I see some of the older series, and I'm seeing a couple of the Abrams movies, I think, and I'm seeing just all the new Trek, the Kurtzman Trek that we love so much on this channel. And I'm like, where are the Star Trek movies? Where are the Star Trek movies? I think I pay, $15 a month for this service? Where are the Star Trek movies? You know, it just like a couple months ago. It's like the home of Star Trek. Subscribe to Paramount Plus. It's not there.
I think
it's
Boomer's
not there.
A little upset.
Okay. So, I go looking around everywhere. I go to Peacock. I go to Hulu because I have access to these. I go to Amazon. I go to Netflix. It's not there. So I'm like, oh, and we're running out of time. I'm like, okay, I'll pay the $3.99 to rent the SOB. Okay. So, rented it.
Which you wouldn't have had to do if you owned physical media, just saying.
Yes, but it's Insurrection, and I only have so much room on the shelf. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that out loud. We love Insurrection. It's okay. It's fine. It's my anyway, I don't have time. Anyway, let me read you this article here, okay? Let me read this article here. I'm actually in a better
Read.
mood.
I'm not.
You want to go on Daniel's stream, hear the comment. I am getting angry in the beginning, okay? I am still angry. I said I'm not going to let this peel over to the stream. And then
Keep in mind, everybody, he hasn't had any alcohol. I'm the drunk one.
Okay. Anyway, here's an article. Star Trek, the original series and TNG movies jumped from Paramount Plus to AMC Plus. Yeah, here we are. Yeah, there you go. We like this article. We do. It's from what's the site? trekmovie.com. Over the last couple of months, Paramount Plus started to expand its offering of Star Trek feature films, with 12 of 13 movies available by July. Now there are only 2. Paramount minus 10. Viacom CBS has made Paramount Plus the primary focus of its business, and this summer has greatly expanded its offerings of feature films, especially films produced by Paramount Pictures. Starting in June, Paramount Plus in the USA has added hundreds of new movies each month, including over 400 new titles for August. Yeah, we were talking about this a few weeks ago. While the total number of films is growing, some films have also been leaving the service. What? As of June, all 6 of the original series feature films, along with all 4 of the Next Generation films, were included in Paramount Plus. The latest film, Star Trek Beyond, was also added in June, with Star Trek Into Darkness added in late July, leaving the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek the sole film not part of the streaming service. I might ask why it isn't. Not that I'm even a fan of these, but it's like, you own them, put them on your service. Anyway, let's keep moving on. I don't mean to be interjecting during this wonderful article. However, if August rolled in, instead of the film catalog finally being complete, all of the original series and TNG movies disappeared. The original series movies and all but one of the TNG movies are now available exclusively on the AMC Plus streaming service. Generations also left Paramount Plus, but is now not available to stream anywhere. In July, Paramount Plus did offer some warning that the films had a limited time on the service, sending out a tweet saying, "You can stream them until the end of the month." I must have missed that. So as of now, only Beyond and Into Darkness remain on Paramount Plus, the home of Star Trek.
Where are they now?
Okay, let me get to that. Having the streaming rights to movies move from one service to another is nothing new, and certainly not unique to Paramount movies in general, or the Star Trek films in particular, which have been migrating around most of the popular service for the last few years. And it appears that a previously agreed upon deal with AMC is taking the Trek movies away for now. It's possible this and more streaming license deals were made by Paramount and Viacom prior to the 2019 merger with CBS, which led to the 2021 launch of Paramount Plus. It isn't clear how long the films will be streaming with AMC Plus, or even if they will come back to Paramount Plus when the AMC deal ends. Yeah, maybe they have a deal with TCM after that. What's going on here? I don't feel like reading this anymore.
I can tell you, you could read the whole thing and you won't have an answer to your question, but I will answer that question for you. So first you had CBS merge with Paramount, so everything goes from CBS to Paramount. Okay, no big shock there. And then Paramount, who is, as you pointed out, the home of Star Trek, licenses Star Trek out to AMC. Why do they do that? They do that because they are not making any money off of Star Trek. They are making money only off of licensing it to somebody else. They are trying to make money however they can because Star Trek sucks now.
Okay. This is what's going on. This is what I call bait and switch.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Okay. Now, I am not a big fan of the new Trek, but I like the old Trek. And heck, if you don't own the physical media, which, as Troy points out, you should,
Yep.
you can still go ahead and go on this streaming service that's the home of Star Trek until it isn't the home of Star Trek. And then you have to subscribe to AMC Plus, which is another streaming service. And then you may have to subscribe to another streaming service to watch Star Trek Generations if it ever becomes available. This is all a lie. Streaming is a lie.
Yep.
There's not, what are on these services? They say we're adding over 400 titles and they take 500 away. You think you're getting the back catalog of these studios. You're not. You want to watch The Godfather? Oh, I'm sorry. It's on HBO Max. Okay, well, I have HBO Max now. I guess I can watch the Harry Potter movies then. Oh, no. They're on NBC Peacock. I don't understand. These companies, they own these properties. You think they own these properties, but they don't. They then sell them off to other streaming services. What are you buying here with these services? It's a big mess.
Amen. Amen. I've been saying this all along, and you've been making the argument for streaming and downloading and whatever.
Yeah, cable 2.0.
You're an instant convert. Congratulations, Boomer.
Something. Okay, yes, he can.
I hate to say I'm right and I know what I'm talking about, but no, I don't. I do know what I'm talking about.
Streaming, cable 2.0. Yes, thank you. Okay. I remember the old days of cable. You had these things called premium channels. Now, I'm not sure how much they actually cost. We would get them once in a blue moon. I think we got HBO for a while because of this stuff like The Sopranos. But would they charge $15 a month or was it more? I mean, it was.
Look, let me
a month? I don't know.
One more time for everybody out there. So that you don't have to suffer the way the Boomer has. Listen to Troy, okay? If you love something, support it, own physical media. And in the future, what's going to happen is all of these streaming services, eventually, somebody is going to come out as the winner in this whole streaming wars thing. And you might have one or two that are out there. And you can either subscribe to both of them or the one that's left or whatever. And, Mr. Matchstick is absolutely right. It's going to be like cable, where you subscribe to the one and you get all of it. Because the other option is you take to the high seas. That's the thing that they're fighting right now, is dealing with that kind of BS. It's like, okay, well, fine. I'll release it on my streaming service, and then suddenly somebody has it uploaded to whatever bay, and nobody's paying for it. Ha-ha, shocker.
I'm just saying, I could have actually made other arrangements if I had known in advance that it wasn't on there.
Well, in fairness, that's us YouTubers not, being prepared in advance for our streams. This is the same reason that, like, 2-3 weeks ago, I was ill-prepared to do my Roadhouse stream because my DVD was bad. I didn't check it in advance. That was my fault.
But this is like when you're on Peacock, the home of Patrick Swayze, and you see Dirty Dancing and Roadhouse, and you do the Dirty Dancing rush, and then you go back on Peacock and say, "Sorry, Patrick Swayze has moved over to AMC Plus." Okay.
Normally, owning the physical media, you never have to worry about that problem. But when there's a little scratch on your DVD, or there's an encoding problem or something like that you didn't know about, well. I should have played the DVD. I should have watched the DVD extras in preparation for that. Was my fault. I've already admitted that. Just saying.
But your copy of Amityville Horror played without a hitch.
Actually, no, it didn't.
Okay, never mind then. Let's move on. Oh, that's right. You were complaining somewhere.
This is why I drink, my friends.
Okay.
Anyway, so this whole first news article is basically to reinforce Troy's point, own physical media, so they can never take it away from you.
One stream to rule them all, and in the darkness bind them. Yeah, one stream to rule them all and take away all your movies. Okay, anyway, and any franchise that can automatically create cheesecake and a food replicator is impressive. Well, you can get cheesecake from a replicator, cheesecake. But it's not really cheesecake. It's just some vitamins in the form of cheesecake, and it's supposed to fool you. Kind of like how you can have fake beefcake. Speaking of fake beefcake, let's talk about He-Man.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. I know we had to. I knew we had to. Let's dig into this.
That was a nice transition. I went from cheesecake to beefcake, and then it's just.
Hey, tell me, how is this this new He-Man doing on Netflix?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking
Kevin
you.
Smith?
That's your
Kevin Smith?
opportunity.
Well, apparently Kevin Smith can't talk about it anymore. But
Kevin
apparently,
Smith should get the hell off of socialist media and shut his mouth.
Kevin Smith's He-Man disappears from Netflix top 10. That's not good. Let me read a bit from this. This is from cosmicbook.com. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We can all hopefully kiss Kevin Smith's woke He-Man series, Master of the Universe Revelation, goodbye. On Netflix, it is learned that the show has quickly dropped out of the top 10.
Here.
YouTuber Grace Randolph has pointed out that Masters of the Universe Revelation in its second weekend has already dropped out of the top 10 in the U.S. Not a good sign at all. On that, she's quoted as saying, on Netflix this week, fans sent a clear message to Kevin Smith and company, who tried to spin the negative reaction last week as if it was a couple of upset fans who were review bombing. But it's hard to argue with Masters of the Universe Revelation disappearing out of the overall top 10 and the top 10 TV shows after just 1 week, while so many other shows have stayed in the top 10 for weeks on end.
Yeah, let's hit the pause button there for a second, okay? So many franchises keep trying to do this. Oh, it's a small group of outspoken, toxic fans, blah, 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 blah. And anybody with any level of intelligence knows that's bullshit, because every YouTuber, every fan, everybody is going, oh my God, this is terrible. This is bullshit. This is not He-Man. I love what Horizon Talker was just saying. He's quoting Yago. He's going, I could just die of not surprise. It's this is the repeated talking point that nobody is effing buying anymore. Nobody believes this bullshit anymore. And yet they keep trying to shovel this shit.
It's the toxic fandom ruining it for everybody. Okay. But anyway, yeah, it's out of the top 10, and she says we'll see what happens with part 2. I mean, I think it's already done, right? I don't think they're going to reanimate it. That's kind of funny, actually. I think she's the one that hosts Beyond the Trailer, right? Yeah. So, back to Bounding the Comics. Sorry, not Bounding Comics, Cosmic Book News. So, with the He-Man series dropping out of the top 10 on Netflix after only 1 week, what that tells us is that a lot of fans watched it when it was first released, something Smith bragged about. But not only did no one watch the series in its second week, but those original fans didn't watch the series again, as they obviously turned it off, which means Master of the Universe Revelation has no repeat viewability factor.
And nobody's going to watch the second half of that thing. And I think he's going to be sadly shocked when he goes to release his what is it, Clerks 3 or whatever that shit is. He has lost his fan base. He's fucked himself. He really has. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. It's the Kraken.
Yes, it is.
No, I was prepped. If you had gotten me on Wednesday about the last story, I would have been cussing tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have been yelling, but I guess I calmed down since then. Kevin,
you'd had almost a week to calm down. I'm still hyped. Yeah.
Is busy lying about his career crisis. Yeah, I know. It's
Kevin the Crying Game Smith is busy lying about his career crisis.
Was that one of those Clerks movies?
He has, this is the worst part of it, right? Because he was this independent, kind of subversive, kind of real fan kind of guy.
Kind of give the finger to the system, I mean,
exactly. And now he is just seen as a sellout. He is in the worst position he could possibly be in for his brand.
Look, Rosefire says, as a tragedy what happened to He-Man, I saw the quality of the animation in which they could have done a new version of Secret of the Sword where he first meets Adora. Yeah, I have to say,
Rosefire, I agree with you, but I would encourage you, hold off on that thought a little bit. Midnight's Edge is working on a video to talk about rights issues related to He-Man. This whole thing with He-Man and She-Ra, Hordak, and all of that, it's very, very murky, very, very complicated.
Yeah,
we could do a whole video just about how so many things that we hate about our fandoms are not driven by SJW BS. It's actually driven by licensing. That's a big problem.
This is part of what I'm thinking is going on right now. Okay, Midnight's Edge touched a little bit about this in one of their videos.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do more on it. That I think the people that own the rights to the figures, I think that's Universal. So they can't actually make the characters look too much like the original action figures, which is what the old Filmation series looked like. So they had to make them look different on purpose. And they argue that He-Man on this series, he doesn't have like the same build as the He-Man on the old series, which was actually based on a real weightlifter when they were
right.
When the weightlifting back then, it was more about having
that was all rotoscoped. That was what was amazing. So I'm sorry, anybody who's saying that those bodies are unrealistic, you're a dumbass. Those are rotoscoped characters. They used real freaking people to represent those characters.
Yeah. And they were making a point.
You can't get more realistic than that.
They even had they quoted Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was saying like the bodybuilding back then was more about symmetry, right?
Right.
About making the body look beautiful, whereas now it's more about just getting muscles upon muscles, and they say it's not healthy, it doesn't look good. They say that's sort of where they went with this, and I think they have to. I think we're overlooking the fact that I think all the character designs in the show look different.
So you do have this element of, we all know that He-Man and She-Ra are brother and sister, but you will never see them in a movie together, or at least not for the foreseeable future, because of the way the rights fall. And that's why you have this issue. But I would even argue that is also why this horrendous Kevin Smith piece of trash is not, despite what he has said, despite what he wants you to believe, is not a sequel to that Filmation series that we loved. It is not. This falls under the same kind of idea as the JJ Trek, where it's got to be a percentage different for marketing reasons, because it is not the same license.
And this is what I'm thinking a lot with a lot of these problems with a lot of the treatments of these old IPs, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How when they're buying the IPs, they're not actually buying the entire IP. They're buying they're getting He-Man, but you can't make the characters look like the action figures. And I kind of think like when you were a kid and like you would ask for like a G.I. Joe figure, and wasn't there a knockoff brand of G.I. Joe figures that people would buy by accident? And you got one of those.
Well, I got to be very careful in how I respond to that, because it's not a knockoff. What I'm thinking of, a lot of people refer to the action. Is it Action Man?
I don't
over
know.
in Britain as a knockoff. It's not a knockoff.
Okay,
it was a
fine.
parallel brand where there was a great deal of synergy, and they ended up syncing up. So a lot of people perceive it as, so keep that in mind. But yes, you're absolutely right. Every toy brand has some company doing knockoffs.
Okay.
And
so like you want
that's
the Luke
both good and bad.
You don't want the Luke Skywalker figure, and your mom buys you the Luke Sky Smasher figure, and like
you're
sort
right.
of like him, except for the fact that this is like the actual IP. So you think you're getting the thing you're getting, and you're not, because of all this licensing thing. And I
think you're getting something, and you're like, nope, but you can't make him look too much like this. You got to do your own thing, and you're like, so is it He-Man? Well, you can call him He-Man, but he can't look like this He-Man. It's like, I kind of feel like Quentin Tarantino. It's like, what are you talking about? You do whatever you want, but you can't do that. What?
And they're like, you say, what do you mean it doesn't take place in that timeline? And he's like, oh, you want the timeline where the city on the edge of forever happened? I want it where everything happened. I don't understand this. And he says, no, I'm not making this. And the thing is that it's almost like all the stuff that we're getting, like the new Star Trek series, the new He-Man, they're all like knockoff versions of the original.
Yeah, and this is what it comes
issues.
down to. Whether you're talking about major changes because of SJW BS, or you're talking about can't look too much like the previous thing because of licensing, I don't care why it is. The fact is, it is significantly different, and this is what the fans are pissed about. So guess what? This is going to happen every single time. These people need to get their heads out of their asses and stop blaming the fans, because they should be able to predict this every single time. Give the fans their franchise, or they're going to be pissed. And don't be shocked when they are.
I am starting to wonder if some of this woke stuff is inserted in there as a distraction from this other stuff. Like, they get us complaining about the woke nonsense, and then we're not paying attention to how the Enterprise doesn't look like the Enterprise.
Yeah.
The uniforms don't look right. All this other stuff. I mean, think back to Star Trek Into Darkness. I couldn't stand that movie, but it wasn't because of woke politics. I don't think there was any woke politics in that. If anything, it was more like a
well, and this is the thing. It's really, really hard to make the argument about, diversity and woman power and all this kind of stuff when you're going, no, that's not my problem. Look at the bridge. That is not the bridge of the Enterprise. Okay? I've got a freaking technical manual that tells me what the bridge is supposed to look like. All you had to do is make it look like that. That's not the Enterprise.
It's the Kelvin timeline. The Kelvin getting destroyed had big ramifications.
Well, that's fine. That's not my Star Trek. That's your bullshit Star Trek that nobody is going to see and nobody is buying the toys for. It's that simple.
Okay. What is this? Or what's Horizon talking?
It's like New Coke.
I'm hearing Troy Pacelli saying that Tommy Wiseau's voice. It's not He-Man. It's not. It's bullshit. Oh hi, Mark. Oh hi, Mark. Yes,
oh hi, Mark.
Yes,
I have never seen the room. I don't know what.
I have. It's not.
It's
pretty.
Bullshit. Oh hi, Mark.
I like the movie about it though.
I'm gonna have to see that movie just because.
Well, have you seen the movie about the making of the room? They did a movie about.
I need to see both. I have not seen either. I think I'm gonna have to because this has been something that's come up so much.
It's anyway.
Hell, it sounds like it's better than new Trek or new Star Wars or new Doctor Who for damn sure.
Well,
I'll watch The Room a bunch of times.
The Room is something else. I think it was him trying to do a Tennessee Williams style play, except it completely didn't make any sense. Okay, but I don't know.
I don't necessarily see a problem with that.
Okay. Anyway, so let's move on from this nonsense. Let's go on to better things. What's next? Oh no. Speaking of things that are fake, oh no.
Well,
and I'm sorry.
Well,
you can't make the argument. No, don't say Lord of the Rings is a piece of literature. You can't hurt it. I'll say this. I'm not really upset about this because they can't do anything. This is like someone makes Sherlock Holmes in space shooting Martians. Okay, they can do that. And I guess now they can do that with Lord of the Rings. But Lord of the Rings will always be Lord of the Rings. Sherlock Holmes will always be Sherlock Holmes. You can always go back to the old stuff. Anyway. Did I just sound like an old man there? Okay. Anyway, Amazon announces premiere date for the Lord of the Rings series, reveals first photo.
Actually, you leave it right at that. There's nothing controversial here. We're just sharing the news with you. The Amazon Prime, series that they're doing on Lord of the Rings.
I'll read the article.
Go ahead.
Amazon Prime Studios finally revealed the premiere date for their upcoming Lord of the Rings series, along with the first official image of the show. Take a look at the first official picture below. I don't have it. Click on the article if you want to see it. In a press release, Amazon revealed the show will debut in September 2nd, 2022 on their Prime Video service and will be available in more than 240 countries and territories worldwide. Amazon Studios head Jennifer Salke reiterated, the journey begins September 2nd with the premiere of our original The Lord of the Rings series on Prime Video. She added, I can't express enough just how excited we are to take our global audience on a new and epic journey through Middle-earth. Our talented producers, cast, creative, and production teams have worked tirelessly in New Zealand to bring this untold and awe-inspiring vision to life. I'm going to look at the image. Hold on.
Nah, the image is meh. I mean, it's a picture of Fantasy City with somebody in the foreground. And
oh, I thought it was full frontal on Gandalf. Anyway.
Jeez. No, it's no. If you'd shown this to me, I wouldn't have known that it wasn't related to something else in the past or Peter Jackson stuff or whatever. It's pretty milk toasty, but we're not seeing this now for another year, so whatever.
Hi, Crispy. You looking forward to the Lord of the Rings series? You looking forward to it? I don't know. Everything I hear about this series, and I think we talked about it a week or two ago. I was like, I think the fact that Christopher Tolkien died before this went into production, I think that would then there was a shakeup with the writing team and everything. I have a bad feeling about this. I think things might have been under control, and they may have been trying to make something worthwhile, and I think there might have been a shift. I haven't seen it yet. Can I judge it? No. I don't really want to watch it, though. I'll see what the Scuttlebug says about it. And I have access to Amazon, so it's not even the fact that I'm being cheap. I just...
Well,
No.
that's the other thing I'm going to say. Even if this thing sucks, it's not like people are going to start canceling Amazon because, let's face it, most people only have Amazon because they have Amazon Prime because they're buying and
they want to get the
getting
free shipping.
Yeah.
No, and to be fair, there's some good stuff in their movie catalog. I mean, a lot of my kind of B movies from the 70s are on there. Then
for all the talk that I do about not, paying for streaming services, I do have Amazon Prime. The fact is, I keep forgetting I freaking have it because I don't really watch anything there. Every now and again, there'll be a rewatch, and I'll go, let me see where it's streaming. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. I can watch it on Amazon Prime. But I don't go to Amazon Prime and go, oh, let's see what I can watch tonight,
Are there gingers in the Similarian? If so, we can kiss them goodbye. Oh, yeah. Well, we know that. Okay. What else did I want to tell you? You know what used to be on Amazon Prime? All the Star Trek movies. Moving on.
Okay.
They used to be on Amazon Prime and Netflix at the same time, and now they're nowhere. Okay. So, speaking of Star Trek Lower Decks star Tawny Newsome says Deep Space Nine's Kira Nerys is basically Antifa, as our last president used to say. He always pronounced it the way I didn't pronounce it. I think he did it on purpose. Anyway, in a recent interview for TrekMovie.com, actors Tawny Newsome, Beckett Mariner, and Jack Quaid, Bradward Beaumier, are those the names of the characters? I haven't watched this. I have Paramount Plus. I ain't watching it. Okay. Shared their thoughts on their own Star Trek series Lower Decks, as well as some of the older shows in the long-running sci-fi franchise. Speaking to Lower Decks, Newsome described the show as being sure of its sense of humor, saying, yes, we know this is funny. We know this is great Star Trek adding, and there's zero apologies for it. 0 F's given, and I love it.
I have no doubt there's 0 F's given. I can kind of tell by the quality.
Okay. However, near the end of the pair's interviews, Newsome drew a very interesting comparison between a classic Star Trek character and the current real-world group known as Antifa, referring to the appearance of Robert Duncan McNeil, who played Tom Paris in Star Trek Voyager, as a talking commemorative plate of himself. TrekMovie.com writer Anthony Pascala asked Newsome and Quaid as the interview wound down for their thoughts on which characters from the Star Trek universe, if any, would they want as their own talking plate. I have to pause this for a second. Are they saying that Paris is a talking plate on Star Trek Lower Decks?
You want me to try and
okay.
interject some sense?
I don't
into
know.
What these people are saying?
Okay. In response, Newsome asserted, I want one of Kira Nerys. Deep Space Nine is my Trek. If it wasn't in Lower Decks, Deep Space Nine would probably be my favorite. I have to agree with her. It might be my second favorite Trek.
Mm-hmm.
I know people love TNG, but I like the original series. I like Deep Space Nine because of the interplay between all the alien races.
Some of the best Klingon stories came out of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
so
there's
it's really
a lot
hard
of
for me
stuff.
to not really love
a lot of stuff with Cardassians, Bajorans, Ferengi. You learn about the Ferengi on Deep Space Nine. So you learn a lot about the other alien races, more so because on TNG they would meet them, and then they move on to the next planet. So you actually get to know some of these races a bit. Anyway, and Kira is such a hardcore badass, she continued before asserting that Kira is basically Antifa and we love her. Kira's incredible, and I feel like anytime I was doubting or confused or whatever, she'd be like, you know who you are. She would give me the most stern, incredible pep talk. That's what I would need in my life. In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Kira Nerys, then a visitor, was one of the leaders of the Bajoran resistance to the Cardassian occupation of Bajor, whose resistance cell was intent on reclaiming their planet from the superior occupying force. Meanwhile, Antifa is a radical and violent left-wing group. This is Bounty in the comics saying this. I say it too. That operates both internationally and in the United States, that specializes in the tactics of agitation, infiltration, intimidation, who's most notably were involved in recent George Floyd riots and the establishment of the short-lived Portland Capitol Hill autonomous zone. I'm not going to Portland anytime soon. But yeah, okay. So, what do we think of comparing Kira to Antifa? Who are the Bajorans in the Star Trek universe? I always kind of feel that in some ways, a lot of the alien races are representative of different countries or different nationalities in our broader
And the
world.
original intent was that the story of the Cardassians and the Bajorans were supposed to be a retelling of the occupation of the post-World War I Germans in... You could argue that the Bajorans were France. You could argue that they were the Jews.
Yes.
But to compare them to Antifa is to completely undermine the intent of those characters and to demonstrate your frickin' ignorance of what Antifa is, you fucking assholes.
Yeah. Like, I get the impression that Bajor was supposed to be the Star Trek equivalent of Israel, okay? They're
Okay,
people,
yeah,
they were
absolutely.
people with a deep faith. They had a civilization that went on a lot longer. Because if the Federation is supposed to be the United States, which I know it isn't, but I always kind of look at it that way, then and that's how I kind of saw it. And the Cardassians, I'm not going to say they were the Germans, but they were definitely.
This just demonstrates to you exactly why you should not be listening to entertainers and, professional play actors to instruct you on social issues and history. These people haven't the education that they think they do.
Last time I saw, Kira was not burning down some guy's small business. Okay, she was a security officer. She was keeping the peace. Okay, I don't. Anyway, yeah. So that was an irresponsible remark that you can get away with in Hollywood because the press gives a free pass to certain organizations, especially ones that, in my opinion, should be under the watch of the CIA. But
yeah.
Anyway, okay. What was I going to say though?
Because if anyone is Antifa in this, it's the invading Cardassians. Those are the frickin' Antifa. They don't understand what Antifa is. They can't, this whole idea that, if you haven't learned from history, you're destined to repeat it. They clearly don't understand history, and we are about to frickin' repeat it because of morons like this.
Yeah, they're not the ones overtaking sectors of cities. Okay, and just
Rosefire, is this the kind of rant you wanted to hear? Because I'm having no problem with it.
Yeah, real life terrorists who took right and for the greater good, great inspiration to audience members. Yeah, no, I don't. Well, this is modern Trek. These are the modern actors on it. This is irresponsible. There was nuance in Kira's character. I actually like Kira. Okay, there was an episode where remember she kidnapped the one. They found the one Cardassian who was like this supposedly this huge butcher of the occupation, right? And she was having conversations with it, and he said, I forgot what the line was. What you call genocide, I call a day's work. Remember he said that?
Yep.
And he was really horrible, and he was saying, "Oh, the Bajoran resistance. Oh, please, please." There was no resistance, like he was making fun of her, and he's egging her on. And then you realize he's not the guy. That guy died, but he's posing as him because he's like the Cardassians need to be recognized for the horrors that they did.
Yeah,
Bajor.
That is a hard hitting story because it's like Yeah, no, that was some incredible storytelling.
Yes.
But yeah.
And she's falling for it, but then she has the nuance to realize, no, this is a good man. Yeah. Even though he's a Cardassian, he's trying to do the right thing.
Well, because
so there was,
because she has definitely gotten past her. It's not a racial thing for her. It's it's what's right and what's wrong, and everybody is capable of great good and great evil, regardless of who they are. And most people understand that. Most heroic characters understand that. But morons like this don't understand jack shit.
And I think it also reminds me of on Deep Space Nine how Gul Dukat was one of the great Star Trek villains.
Right.
Don't you think? It's funny too how he starts out as a Cardassian, and then the Pa Wraiths, don't they turn him into a Bajoran?
Yeah.
I think. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. He's still evil. It doesn't matter if he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Bajoran now. You know what I mean? And of course he's worshiping the antecedent of the prophets, right? And it's just
Right.
the anti-prophets, and and he's starting that cult. That was a well done show. I do miss it. And no, that's an incorrect
Well,
description.
that's the other problem.
Plus,
right?
I'm going to say this current group that she's referring to, they don't really like a certain country in the world, do they? Which is what Akira is supposed to basically
exactly
be above. Okay.
Exactly. There's the irony right there. That's the other thing too. Everyone that wants to point to Deep Space Nine and go, well, Deep Space Nine, dealt with some pretty strong, social justice issues and so forth. Yeah. And they were not preachy about it. They showed both sides of it and showed how complicated things were and made you think.
Yeah.
But morons like this, want to oversimplify things in so far as to make it completely false.
Remember, look, SJWs don't study history. They simply extract random bits for their cause. I see this all the time. The victimized group are the new Jews, and the suppressive group are the new Nazis. Yep.
Yeah.
I want to bring something out. Do you remember this episode of Deep Space Nine I liked? Where...
Wait. Before you do, I do want to thank Rosefire for as loose as my tongue has been. I super appreciate people censoring themselves in the comments for Age of Boomers' sake, because, certain words, the YouTube algorithms and stuff, so I super appreciate you doing that.
I mean, I don't know if they're paying attention to me now, but they may someday, so you never know.
Exactly.
What I want to mention, though, I was mentioning... What was I just saying? Crap.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break your flow, but I felt that it was important to say that.
Oh, no. There was an episode of Deep Space Nine where Cardassians... There were Cardassian children left over from the occupation. They were being raised by Bajorans.
Oh, yeah.
They were being raised to hate their own kind by their parents. And then, Keiko didn't like that. And she's going to Chief O'Brien, like they're taking the kid, and then he's like, they can be there's a gentle child. And O'Brien makes some comment, gentleness was bred out of them a long time ago. And she says, that's a very ugly statement, remember? Because even O'Brien had a problem with Cardassians as well, because the Federation had a war with them, right? And he was involved in it. Remember?
Well, what it comes down to is this whole idea of hating someone because of their race, right? I mean, you got to separate these fictions about race from the way people are raised. Anybody could be raised to be hateful, regardless of their skin color, and I'm oversimplifying it. Obviously, we're talking about different, we say race, but what we really mean is species when we're talking about science fiction. But that's the analogy that they're going for, right? And we've seen it in the real world. We have seen people made to hate their own kind because of the prejudice of the people raising them. And guess what? We have just switched the script, and now it's a different group of people being made to hate themselves.
Yeah.
And we need to freaking stop this, you hypocrites.
It's ridiculous.
Because we have not learned. You are not Star Trek fans because you didn't learn the lessons of the previous social issues that were brought up in Star Trek. You didn't pay attention then, and you're trying to justify things now.
Yeah. And it's well, like I said, though, we're dealing with a lot of fake entertainment now. Here we go, though. Rosefire says you're both welcome. Have a donut or donut on me. This is where Troy says, now I want a donut.
Yeah, and I do. I was just thinking that. You know me too well, damn it.
The other week, I had a Fruity Pebble donut. It was vanilla frosted with Fruity Pebbles on it.
That actually sounds pretty good.
Boss brought it. My nice boss brought him to work. It was very nice, and I had a Fruity Pebble.
Are you allowed to eat in a library?
You can eat in the kitchen, where you can take your lunch break. No, you can't eat on the floor. You can't eat on the floor. No, okay.
Okay.
You eat in. I'm going to tell you all this for all you out there. Okay. You eat in a library. Stuff falls on the floor that attracts bugs. Bugs get in the books. No eating. You can have a covered drink as long as it's covered. Okay. So if you have a bottle, as long as it has a bottle cap on it when you're not drinking, or a cup with a lid or something, that's fine. All right. Anyway,
I just
and
never thought of there being a kitchen in a library. I just never really thought
well,
about
it has like a micro. It's a break room.
All
All
right.
workplaces have break rooms, right? Anyway, okay, so
So let's talk about the evil Disney.
okay. Well, here's the thing. Like with the nuance on Star Trek that no one's evil, I'd like to think that oh, I'm going to sound like an idiot here. That even companies don't have to be as bad as they are. I don't want to say they don't have to be evil because
Well, I think this one is. I may not have the popular opinion on this, but let's go ahead and dig into it.
Yeah, and I actually switched up because we're doing the Universal one next, and they're miscellaneous because it proves a point I'm trying to make about how you can do a theme park thing. And I'll do that one next.
Okay.
Okay, so we have. It's actually going to be a positive article. The next one: Disney reveals trailer for Star Wars Hotel that costs $6,000 per family. Wow. Okay. I've heard of this hotel. It's been rumored for years now. Haven't you heard of it? The Star Wars Hotel. Bet you dollars to donuts too that there's not going to be anything from the original trilogy in here.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because everything that I've seen on this is sequel trilogy. That is probably my biggest problem with this. Who the hell is going to pay for a premium vacation experience for a franchise that nobody cares about?
Let me go ahead and read this, okay? Disney released more details about its Star Wars themed hotel Wednesday, including a trailer and an out-of-this-world price breakdown. Here's a look inside the company's Galactic Star Cruiser, a 2-night immersive experience at Walt Disney World that's billed as part live immersive theater, part themed environment, part culinary extravaganza, part real-life role-playing game. The lowest announced pricing tier is $4,809 for 2 guests. That includes a standard cabin, food and drink, except alcohol, which is extra, and an experience that features activities such as lightsaber training, bridge crew training, and a planet excursion to Batuu, aka also known as Galaxy's Edge Park. A family of 4 can expect to pay a minimum of $5,999. There are no prices yet listed for the hotel's upgraded rooms, dubbed the Galaxy Chest Suite, which includes 2 windows instead of 1 looking out into space, and the Grand Captain Suite 3 space windows, but one assumes those prices are most impressive. There are other add-ons too, such as Captain's Table seating rather than eating at a communal tables in the Crown of Corellia dining room.
Okay.
Disney also launched a rather helpful frequently asked questions that attempts to answer further questions such as, is Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser a hotel? It's much more than a hotel, the company insists. What is the wristband that guests have to wear at all times? It helps make the space magic happen and almost certainly doesn't collect a bunch of data on you to be monetized forever, okay? Sorry. Is there a swimming pool? Nope. Disney made a $6,000 per ticket hotel without so much as a hot tub. Can you stay for less than 2 nights? What are you, broke or something? Of course not. And a favorite from the frequently asked questions: the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser really take passengers into space? Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser launches in spring 2022. Okay. I am going to say this. I got the impression that when Walt Disney made Disneyland and Disney World, is that, of course, it's a company. It wants to make a nice profit, a healthy profit. But I didn't get the feeling they were trying to cheat the customers. They were trying to make a family experience that was affordable, okay, that the parents could enjoy along with the kids, right? And now it's feeling more and more like these theme parks are just starting to cater to people that are very wealthy. Okay?
So let me dispel that for you. You're looking at it through rose-colored glasses. Ever since the beginning, there was a 2-tiered system. There was the entrance, to the park that the idea was most anyone could afford. And then there was the resorts. The resorts were always for the wealthy. They always were. If you ever went to Disney and stayed at the resort and paid the resort prices and got all the premium experience, that's the way it is. That's all this is. This is not something different. The fact that people are getting all bent out of shape about this, I'm sorry. These are a bunch of Gen Xers that, think that, the world owes them something. And I'm sorry, that's not the way the world works. Okay? There is what you do, there is going out and having a lot of money and belonging to a country club and going to hang out by the pool and have someone bring you drinks. And then there's going out to the corner and running around in the Johnny Pumps for the summer. That's the world we live in. Okay? That's all this is. This is nothing different. I'm sorry, $6,000. Now, again, that's for a family of 4. Okay? Yeah, it's fucking expensive to take people to Disney and go to the resort and get all the, and oh no, booze is extra? Shocker there. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at this going, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pay for it. I certainly wouldn't pay for it.
Well, that's my point, though.
Being the fact that it's a sequel trilogy. If this was, instead of Baku, if it was, I don't know, Corellia or Tatooine or whatever, and the stormtroopers were original trilogy stormtroopers rather than these first, I almost said first edition, whatever the hell the sequel people are, I would start looking at $6,000. Could we do that? Maybe. Oh, $6,000 is for a family of 4. There's only 2 of us. Okay, so maybe it's a little less. Maybe I don't drink while I'm there. Maybe I enjoy the experience and drink when I get home. Whatever. And I'm going to start going, okay, yeah, I could do this. Sure. And then I start to realize, hey, my wife and I are both working. We don't have kids. We could actually afford this damn thing. Sorry, folks. Sorry that you are, one of those Gen Xers that don't want to get a job because the government is happy to pay you $500 a week to sit at home and play frickin' video games, and you can't afford to go to Disney in 2 years. You know what? F you. Get yourself a frickin' job and save up $6,000 if you want to do this thing. It's called premium service.
Well, you know what?
I told you what I was going to say probably wasn't going to be all that popular.
Well, it might be nice if maybe Disney could pump money into the actual Galaxy Edge to make it the thing that you want to go see, okay?
Well, but again, keep in mind that what they're talking about is going to be happening in another year. I think there's going to be a lot of changes in Star Wars in the next year.
Here's the deal. I could give a shit about going to a Star Wars hotel, okay? I don't like it, and I've been to Disney. I've gone to Disney my whole life, okay? There's been a change in recent years, okay? I feel like they're constantly trying to reach their hand into your wallet now, where I didn't feel that way in the past. Yes, there were packages you could get. I even got them a couple times. You did do like the dinner package, and you get the better seating for the show, and usually you have to go eat in a restaurant that's overpriced and doesn't have as good food as some of the cheaper restaurants. But I digress, okay? I've done the Disney stuff before, but I just feel like more and more lately, it's just about adding on costs to something that was just, I'm just tired. I feel like I don't like people reaching into my pocket. It reminds me of a very bad circus I went to a few years ago. Which probably shows why circuses are going downhill too. And you go there, and every 2 minutes, someone's trying to sell you something. Okay, and I'm just here to see the show. I'm here to see the clowns.
Well, how is that any different than going to see a ball game and people are selling, beers and peanuts and popcorn?
Well, you expect to get peanuts and I don't say that, but it's like it's about the degree. Okay, I'll put it to you that way. It's about the degree. I buy video games, and then there's DLC, and like Nintendo may sell for $10 or $20, you get more DLC. Now you still get the complete package in the game, and you don't need to buy the DLC, but for a little extra, you get some extra stuff, and that's not in my opinion, absurd. Okay. Then you have other companies that are just charging you for things up the wazoo and doing other things. So I guess it's a degrees thing.
Well,
$6,000.
if you're going to use
maybe.
that analogy, then it's the difference between you having a video game with DLC and, going to a Robotech center where it's an immersive experience and you're paying for 15 minutes on the game.
All right. I have to explain to you. There was a television show on HBO that kind of tapped into some kind of weird, deep-set fear of mine, okay? And it was called Westworld. And I know I heard it went off the rails in season 3, so I didn't even bother, and I just had a feeling. But
it went off the rails in season 2, but there you go.
Well, I was still willing to forgive some things, but you're right, toward the end. But
yeah.
The thing is that I don't like these weird, twisted parks that are catering to a certain class that I feel is starting up a lot of trouble in the country and in the world, okay? Not in so much. I like balance. Okay, when the parks I felt like the park space used to cater to the middle class. Okay, that's what they were. It was a middle class vacation. Okay, and now I feel like they're doing all of this tiered stuff now. And yeah, I know they have the resorts back day. I don't know. It's making me
again, it's the
uncomfortable,
difference
okay?
between going to Florida and staying in a motel off property, and then going to the park for the day, which is what I did, right?
Yeah.
Or paying the resort prices, where you're paying through the nose and you get all the premiums, but that's because you got the money. I mean, there is always been a tier. This is the vacation, industry. That's just the way it is. And let's face it, the ability to take a vacation, pay resort prices, this is something that the upper middle class and rich do that, I'm sorry, not everyone can.
I think we stayed in the Polynesian once, but I could be wrong. It was very little if we did. But we did the Disney themed hotels that were on the property, but they weren't so bad, at least for the residents. They were more reasonably priced than the resort ones, but they were nice hotels.
Oh, see, that's another point. You're a Florida resident.
Yeah.
You get some perks there that the rest of us coming from Chicago
wouldn't. We also get hurricane season. So anyway, and
this is what it comes down to. You make your choices.
Make my choices. Okay. Well, my choice is this. I ain't paying no $6,000 for a hotel.
Well, like I said, I wouldn't either.
I was going to kind of just pop my head.
I wouldn't either for the sequel trilogy, but I might be tempted to do so if this was real Star Wars.
If I can wrestle a Bengal tiger without any consequences, maybe. Okay, I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah. Well, Siegfried, I would not go down that route.
Okay, anyway. No, what was I going to say though? Oh no, actually, I'll say this. You know what I might spend $6,000 on? If they had the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Remember the scene of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
With your luck, it would be the Johnny Depp version.
No, see that's what would happen. I buy it. And it's not the Gene Wilder version. But remember when they walked into that area and everything was made out of candy, like the big gummy bears? If I might pay $6,000. I mean, if I had the $6,000 to spare,
see, that's the difference between you and me, because you'd spend $6,000 and I would go $6,000 to go and eat candy that other kids have had their hands all over and crap. Forget that shit.
They promised me it's fresh for each person that walks in there.
Right.
You think it's a lie? How they're reusing the gummy bears?
I am not licking the lickable wallpaper after, Typhoid Mary in front of me was just licking it. No, I don't think so.
I guess that's not in these days. That's not that would.
Yeah, especially these days, right?
Okay.
Right.
Anyway, my point is this: I ain't staying in that stupid hotel.
Yeah, I would say let's reserve this conversation until they decide to drop the sequel trilogy. Let's see what happens in the next year with Star Wars. But my personal take on it is, first, this resort was not made for us. It was not made for any real fans of Star Wars. So let's put that aside. Secondly, it's a premium price that not everyone can afford, and that's just the way it is. I don't see a problem with that. Of all the things Disney is effing up, this price point is not their biggest sin.
Look at that, $6,000 for or really get diabetes. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, whatever. This is my problem though. I,
This is my problem with you as my co-host. You're
No.
supposed to agree with me on
You're supposed
everything.
to agree with me on everything. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like. I don't like the. You're going to be the kid doing the pathetic Jedi training in the park, and then you got and they got Mark Hamill to stop by at the hotel.
Oh,
that
don't
day,
even get me
okay?
started on Mark Hamill today. Let's move on to Warner Brothers, huh?
Okay, all right. Moving on. No, we're not moving on to Warner Brothers first because we're going to do this
Oh.
other theme park. Because I want to.
Oh, yeah, because this is related. That makes sense.
I want to
yeah.
point out a contrast. Okay, 2 more mazes confirmed for Halloween Horror Nights 30 at Universal Orlando Resort. I like Universal. Okay,
I got to say, I went to Universal Resorts,
Yeah.
the park there. I've been to Disney as well. And I got to say, yeah, I agree with you. I enjoyed Universal more.
They've added a lot.
They used to say ride the movies, and it really did feel like that.
Oh,
it
yeah.
really did.
It's really cool, and they're always adding new stuff too. And this is something they do.
Keep in mind, I went to Universal back when they had the Jaws ride and the Back to the Future ride and E.T. I haven't seen this recent stuff, but
the Back to the Future ride got replaced with a Simpsons ride. To be fair, in their defense, they kept it on a long time. Actually, if you like the Back to the Future ride, though, if you get the newer DVDs or the Blu-rays, they have all the video. They have like a recreation of the ride on the DVD set.
it's
which is
funny
kinda
because
neat.
I got a bootleg DVD of the footage from the Terminator ride.
Oh,
It's really good.
I missed the Terminator ride. That's the best Terminator.
Yeah, I
film
didn't
ever
get to do it myself, but getting the footage on the DVD is kind of nice.
You would have the 3D glasses, and then you see the T-1000, and its head pokes right at you in the audience, and it's like
That's pretty cool.
John Connor, Sarah Connor, and it's like they have to stop him one last time, and it's really cool. Universal was just kicking all kinds of butt. They still do though, and I want to read this
Sure.
article. Okay, Universal Orlando Resort has confirmed 2 more haunt scare mazes that will be coming to Halloween Horror Nights 30 in 2021. This year's event should be back to its former glory to mark Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights 30th year. The event will run on select nights September 3rd to October 31st, 2021, with tickets starting from $70.99 per person plus tax when purchased online through the official Universal Orlando website. It has been announced that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre haunt will return to Halloween Horror Nights 30 after last being seen at the event in 2016. Guests will step into the dilapidated Texas home of the depraved, sadistic Sawyer family, who welcomed you with razor-sharp blades and a roaring chainsaw. Those familiar with the 1974 film, which the haunt is said to be inspired by, will be pleased to know that they will come face-to-face with endless horrors around every corner. Take a look at the teaser video embedded below. You can't see it. Anyway, as predicted, Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives,
Wow.
which was one of the 2 scare mazes available to guests to experience in the slimmed-down Halloween Horror Nights event in 2020, is set to return in 2021. A gruesome experience is guaranteed. We belong dead, the last words of Frankenstein's monster when his bride rejected him. Now she'll stop at nothing to bring him back. The teaser videos are kind of funny to watch if you check them out. They're last week it was announced that the Haunting of Hill House will also be one of the scare mazes in this year's lineup. The maze will feature iconic scenes from the Netflix series, including the ominous and powerful Red Room and the infamous Hall of Statues. It won't follow a specific character or timeline, but guests will catch glimpses of the apparitions of William Hall, the ghosts in the basement, and the bent neck lady. And Beetlejuice will also be a theme for one of the Halloween Horror Nights scare mazes. Got trouble with the living? You know what to say. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Enter the twisted, terrifying world of the original film as the infamous bio-exorcist haunts you, taunts you, and sends you screaming out of the haunted house. I have to tell you something. They have a love of these old properties when they do these mazes. You go into like a maze based on one of the Universal Monsters movies, you're like walking into like the old gothic Universal Monsters movies, okay? Like they had a Dracula. I think I went to a Dracula castle one year, right?
Nice.
And it's like you're actually going inside the castle, and like they'll have people at work at the park. They're dressed up and they'll jump out at you and stuff. It's the most fun you'll have being spooked. Okay,
That's pretty awesome.
It's if you're ever in the Orlando area around Halloween time, I would treat yourself to a Halloween Horror Nights. Now, of course, you can do 2 different things. You can get the Fast Pass, which gets you in faster, which I did one year. But frankly, if you go on a certain day of the week, like a Thursday, it's not as bad. And if you if you start at the back of the less popular mazes and then work your way forward, you may end up getting to see them all. I usually at least get to see like 6 out of the 8 at least, usually when I'm in these parks. You can also ride rides there. They have food. They have special drinks. That's probably where they make a lot of the money off of the specialty cocktails they serve, whatever. It's really an adult theme park at that point, but it's fun. It's very moody if you're into Halloween horror stuff. And the cool thing about the mazes is they'll have some that are based on properties like Texas Chainsaw or Halloween, but then they'll have others which are originals, like, aren't based on anything. One of the best mazes I went in there was based on a fun house. It was like their own version of a funhouse, like, where you see like yourself funny in a mirror and like, the thing twisting around you. So you get all disorientated walking through it. It was like a classic carnival funhouse, but it was really neat. And it's a lot of fun. It's like the best thing to do in Florida, basically around Halloween. One of the best things to do around Halloween time. You know what it is? Do you ever have like in your area, like I know in our area, like the police officers will put on a haunted house for you to walk through.
Sure,
I'm sure you have
we've had the fire departments do that. We've had the libraries do it. We've had churches do it.
Yeah, it's like those, but on a bigger scale. Okay,
sure.
But it's in the same spirit of those. But of course, they even have more money to play around with.
Sure,
and you get to see 8 of them at once if you're lucky. And it's
but
really
what's
neat.
Nice is the area that I'm in. We have some big. They call them haunts, and I know some of the people that work on these things that dress up in the costumes and build the sets and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, even the local ones I've been to are neat. And but like I said, this is like the whole park turns into that. And you get 8 of them, and you can also ride the rides too. So if you want to go on the roller coasters and stuff, you can do that too at night. And I think it lasts till you get in there like 7 or 8, and it goes to like, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 in the morning.
I mean, my understanding is that Great America, the theme park, They have stuff like this too. I don't go. I'm not into theme parks mostly, but
I'm not really either. Except these maze parks, I get a kick out of.
Oh yeah,
even now as an older guy, and because they always change them up. Even if they do the same horror movie, they will change the maze. They won't just give you a duplicate of what they did before. Okay,
sure.
One year they did American Werewolf in London maze.
Mm-hmm.
This is the funniest thing about the American Werewolf in London's phase. I said, are they going to do the porno theater? Because the scene in the movie I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it was in there. You walk through it, and I purposely looked at the screen because you heard the moaning. And you look at the screen, but it's all fuzzy.
Oh,
you can't
of
see
course
it like
it
the
is.
projector's out of focus. I'm like, no.
That's funny.
It's really neat. And like, of course, you'll run into the werewolf, but then you also run into the guy's, dead friend, and like he'll pop out at you. And it's a lot of fun. Then they do original mazes like. They did the Curse of La Lorena, which was like in a Spanish mission, and like a cursed Spanish mission. And then they did one of my favorites was this like a Christmas nightmare scenario where like inmates from the insane asylum crash, like from the violent crime people, and they escape from the bus, and they're messing around with homes around Christmas time. Do you understand? Like
I don't know. That makes me want to see a escaped prisoners versus Gremlins.
I'm shocked. Have they ever done a Gremlins maze at Halloween Horror Nights?
That would be great.
That strikes me.
That seems like it would be pretty easy to do too. Use a lot of animatronics,
I don't know if they ever did a Ghostbusters maze. They used to have a Ghostbusters a show you could watch at Universal.
Man, I'm telling you, as we're getting closer to the release of Afterlife, I'm going, why the heck haven't they done an augmented reality game for the iPhones and the Samsungs and the whatnots, where we could, go around and find ghosts in our neighborhood.
So it's like Pokemon Go, but with
like Pokemon Go. I'm like, we're really missing out here.
That would be neat. But yeah, Back to the Future was a great ride, Horizon Talk. But the Simpsons ride is good, too. I have to give them points. They did a good job on that. At least when Universal gets rid of an older ride, they at least replace it with something that's also good. Like, I was a little upset about the King Kong ride going away, but, I think everything goes away. And then over in Universal in Hollywood, they made a new King Kong ride that was based on the Peter Jackson movie. Which,
did they?
We didn't get that in Orlando, though, but I kept thinking maybe they could do one based on Kong Skull Island or something,
Oh, yeah.
They could do that. They could bring it back that way. But, Universal, got to give them props. And I'm telling you, that's not a terrible price. And I don't know if that might even be cheaper for Florida residents, too.
Probably.
And you get to go there, have a good time, and stop at Denny's on the way home and get a bad BLT. Okay. You go to
That's
Denny's,
funny.
get like the breakfast, get like pancakes.
I don't
You
know.
know.
Denny's gives me the squirts. I don't usually.
I was with friends and we stopped there. Did I? You want to hear a funny story? Okay, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in a diner, and there's certain things you order at certain places where you know they can't mess them up, right?
Yep.
And I'm thinking, what can a diner not mess up? A BLT. BLT, it's simple enough to make, okay, right? I get a BLT, and it has shredded lettuce on it.
Oh gosh.
I have a thing about shredded lettuce. I don't like it. It's the confetti of vegetables, okay? I, I I understand. I know what shredded lettuce is. I'm not dumb. Okay, for the all the rich people that get their nice leaves on the sandwich, and then you just shred up what's left of the lettuce of the head of lettuce, and you make the shredded lettuce out of that. I know what's going on here. But when I get a BLT, I want that leaf on there. Okay, I don't want
I
shredded
agree with you.
lettuce.
I dig
Shredded
that.
lettuce goes all over the place. It's not fun. It's not a party, and I'm not happy. And you know
Although
what the funny?
you bring up Denny's though, and I'm thinking I want to go to Universal and I want to be able to go to a David Lynch exhibit where they have a Winky's diner and they have, the equivalent
Oh, that
of.
would be neat. It's funny in Universal Studios they do have an old-fashioned '50s diner type thing
Sure.
there. I don't think it's bad. The food in the park's not bad, but actually, but the problem is at night, especially when the park closed down. You like at least at Disney or Universal, you could stop at some of the restaurants either in the City Walk or in downtown Disney and stop there after the parks closed down. And they sometimes they even have a night menu, but at 2 in the morning they're not going to be open.
Right.
But what was I? If you're ever in if you ever go to the House of Blues though, that restaurant trade,
Oh yeah.
and they have one at Universal, it's called Mother Cluckin' Chicken. Okay.
That sounds good.
And well, they have other stuff too. They have jambalaya, which is really good there too. But I got the Mother Cluckin' Chicken, and it's like a fried chicken that's barbecue flavor. It's like you're eating barbecue chicken, but it's fried. It's the weirdest thing, and I loved it. Okay.
Yeah. Netto's saying finish the Denny story.
No, well, I argued that the people at my table, though, my friends thought I ordered the best thing, though, compared to what they got. Okay,
Sure.
so I guess I did okay, but I'm thinking just get the pancakes, get pancakes and sausage or something. Just no, come on, it's a BLT.
Bacon, lettuce, tomato.
And
How
I
do you
ordered
screw
fresh
that up?
fruit as one of the sides, and it took forever to get the fresh fruit. I said, "We're out, but we have grapes. Just give me the grapes." And I shared the grapes with the people at the table.
dig it.
And it's like, I can't even get the fresh fruit. It's like, which would probably be some kind of melon, right? It's usually melon, grapes,
Right.
and blueberries if you're lucky, right? That's usually what it is anyway. But yeah, but the mazes are really cool. I can't say enough good things about Halloween Horror Nights. You know what makes me upset though? I wish they would sell the sound effects CD because they always have this horribly creepy music playing in different parts of the park. And all the different parts of the park are themed on different things. Like if you go through one area, you get like hillbillies with chainsaws chasing you. In another area, it's scary
I live
carnival.
in Illinois. I can get that for free. I'm just saying.
In another area, you get scary clowns. Okay, after you, you get that in Illinois too.
Well, that's politicians, but
Okay, but anyway,
you know what, dude? I need to step away, but I'll be right back.
what?
Sorry.
I
I'm
can't
sorry.
believe he's doing this to me. He has to step away because I mentioned Denny's and now he's feeling queasy. How's the chat doing tonight? But no, I highly recommend if any of you ever get a chance to do Halloween Horror Nights, and if not, just try and start. At least this Halloween, provided we're not all shut down again, maybe go ahead and stop by one of your local mazes because usually the fire department said they put on a pretty good show too. But I have to admit, as I've gotten older, I do like the mazes. I can't go out trick or treating anymore because they might look at me funny for being a boomer going out with a trick or treat bag and saying give me candy, but you can do the mazes, and the mazes are a lot of fun, and that's one way to celebrate Halloween. A lot of good rides at Universal though. Jurassic Park ride I liked. Oh, can I tell you guys a story about the Jurassic Park ride? Okay. We're in this we're on the Jurassic Park ride, right? And there's a father and his young son is with him, right? Okay, like kids like what 4 or 5, right? Okay, and the kid is screaming and crying by the time we get off the ride, and the father says, "Well, what scared you, the Velociraptor or the T-Rex?" And he said, "All of them." The kid didn't like the dinosaurs. Okay. But yeah, I know that Universal, they got some. I know they got something in the works. And let me tell you something. That Nintendo Land. If they want to pinch my wallet on that one, they may succeed because
$6,000? Would you be willing to pay for
I
it?
don't know. I am a Nintendo. I won't say I'm a Nintendo diehard fan, but Nintendo has a special place in my heart. The way some people are with Disney, you know how you have Disney files out there,
Yeah.
which must be tough these days to be a Disney file, considering you have to keep
imagine.
apologizing. But I'm kind of that way with Nintendo. I love their properties. I love their characters, and the fact they recreated the Super Mario Land that looks just like, I think I did that on Mr. Matchstick's Culture Fortress stream.
Sure.
Which I hear might be making a comeback soon, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, Super Nintendo Land looks cool. Or maybe I talked about it on this stream. That's right, because I was all excited when they announced it, and I was saying you can go to the Toad Cafe. You can get a cake that's actually made by Princess Peach just for you. They
out of mushrooms? A mushroom cake?
No, the sweets aren't made out of. Actually, I say that. I wouldn't put them past it to have a mushroom-themed dessert if they could figure out a way to do it.
Right?
Like practically everything in the Mushroom Cafe, not everything, but a lot of the dishes are mushroom-themed.
I would imagine.
So you get like on the Mario cheeseburger, there are like a bunch of mushrooms on it, or you get like a Yoshi a salad which has a Yoshi. I think they thought it was an egg, but it might have been like cheese in the shape of a Yoshi egg or something, right? And it looked funny. But we got one more story, don't we have to get to? No more fun. Actually, no, this is fun. This is good.
I actually, you felt really strongly about this because I forgot this on last week's.
No, I noticed you forgot it, but we were so crowded last week, I figure we'll just let it go.
But then you were like, no, I want this on this week. I'm like, okay. I didn't think this was a big deal, but okay, go ahead.
Auditor Dread, there is a Mario Kart ride. You know that was the first thing they came up with, okay? I don't think it's what you think, though, where you get to pilot the cart yourself and hit other people. But it's interactive. I think you can actually, it's like 3D and like you can actually attack things that are coming after you and stuff. And you're actually in a cart. And it looked interesting. You can check it out online. People have taken shots of it from the actual parks. You know what's neat if you look at parks around the world? I was watching the other day in I think it was Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
They have a Beauty and the Beast ride that looked absolutely charming. You're actually in like these giant teacups, and like they're reenacting all the songs from the movie in different animatronic scenes. And I'm thinking, is this I don't know if it's a recent ride because people were in the park wearing the masks, right? But it looked phenomenal, and I'm like, they really need to bring that over here. Disney, when I get people in the parks, put that in there. Forget about these stupid Star Wars hotels. Bring the Beauty and the Beast ride. Make an Aladdin ride. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. Can you imagine an Aladdin ride?
I absolutely can. I mean, magic carpet ride kind of a thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, but they never did one. But let's see though. Warner Brothers brings Smallville, the complete series, to Blu-ray for its 20th anniversary. Okay. I'm a little pumped for this.
Why are you pumped for this?
Why? Well, let me read the article first. Okay, this is from the Digital Bits. Digital Bits is a great classic website to follow for DVD news. I've been following them since the 90s. Okay, all right. So they've been around for a while. Okay. Warner Brothers Home Entertainment has just officially announced Smallville, the complete 20th anniversary edition, for release on Blu-ray disc on October 19th. All 218 episodes of the beloved superhero TV series, which ran from 2001 to 2011, 10 years of my life. First on the Warner Brothers Network and later on the CW, will be included in the set, remastered in 1080p HD. We don't have specific details on the remastering yet, but it's likely that seasons 1 through 4 have been upsampled from SD, though live-action footage, not including visual effects, may have been scanned through the original camera negative. Seasons 5 and 6 have been released previously on short-lived HD DVD format back in 2006 and 2007, as have seasons 6 through 10 on Blu-ray. Warner's new Blu-ray set will include 40 Blu-ray discs, 50 of them, plus 2 DVDs that will collect the bonus materials released previously on DVD. Among the video-based featurettes will be including the original 1961 pilot for The Adventures of Superboy, 5 longer featurettes, a retrospective look at Smallville's 10 years journey, a decade of Comic-Con, Pally Festival, Smallville's 100th episode, making of a milestone, and Secret Origin, the American story of DC Comics, plus many additional behind-the-scenes featurettes, gag reels, and deleted and extended scenes. The Blu-rays will also include numerous audio commentaries with the cast and crew. The total bonus features contents amount to over 28 hours of material in all. What more? The package will include a digital copy for the entire series. I am very tempted by this, and even though they're saying $179, let's see what they're selling it for on Black Friday. Okay, you never know. Okay, you could get this thing down to $100. Okay. I am very excited for this. I do not know. I don't want upscaled season 1 through 4. Now, of course, they argued, well, maybe they'll just upscale the shots that have the visual effects because they're going to be too cheap to bother redoing those in HD. Warner Brothers, do me a favor. You know this is a legacy series of yours. Redo the effects. Do what they did for TNG. Do what they did for the X-Files.
Well,
just redo them for the HD.
My bigger concern is as long as they don't do what they did to Buffy when they decided to go high definition.
That was a disaster.
That was a freaking disaster.
That is considered one of the
where they decided to go widescreen and you can see the stagehands on the side of the screen because it was never meant to be widescreen. Oh God.
That is, we don't care. Or that is, we effed up with that.
But you said, what did you say, $179?
Yes.
Okay, you realize that works out to $17.90 a season. That seems pretty damn reasonable to me.
I think the manufacturer's price is reasonable, and I'm telling you, it will go on sale for cheaper than that. I know it will. I
do not see this as being overpriced. This is
I'm not saying it is overpriced. I'm saying, though, it will go down, okay?
Oh, okay.
Everything goes down. Now, you don't want to wait forever either, though, because these things have a habit of also disappearing off the market. But it'll be around for at least a year, I'm sure. So if you're interested in owning this on Blu-ray, which I am because I'm a Smallville nut, it is a flawed series, but like people, you like them for what they do well, but you love them for their flaws.
It may be flawed, but you compare it to what CW's been putting out lately, it's far superior.
At its heart, it understood the characters.
Yes, it did.
It got Clark Kent. It got Lois Lane. It
got Jonathan and Martha Kent spot freaking
Lex
on.
Luthor.
What a sweet Lois Lane too.
Oh, I love Lois Lane. You see Lex Luthor. He has a
brilliant.
He has a slow descent into darkness. They did it perfectly. One thing I'll say, they went on forever, but they could take their time turning him to the dark side. He doesn't start out as a villain on that show, and you see the things that happen to him that keep edging him more and more toward who he's going to become in the end, and it's almost tragic to watch, but it's fascinating. I love, it's kind of like what a Tolkien said about evil. Like people, like he argued that a person doesn't start out evil, but you can turn it slowly over time. You can corrupt someone slowly over time.
The other thing
that's
I
sort of what he got with the Ring, I think. Yeah.
When they did that whole storyline with Lionel Luthor and Project Veritas and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, my gosh, somebody must have read Miracle Monday and really, wanted to keep alive that little bit of lore that didn't really appear anywhere else. I was like, this is really genius.
No, they were good writers. And Smallville was on the same time as the Justice League cartoon show, and I always found it funny because I think like a similar character would show up on Justice League, like Dr. Destiny, and then they had a similar character on Smallville, like at the same time, and like, are they sharing scripts? What's going on here? It was like, oh, but I miss Smallville. It's something I actually do want to own for posterity, and I think I will be picking this up. Look, the compromise will be upscale the effects scenes from the first 4 seasons, but at least leave the scenes that don't have the effects in them and do a real remastering of those. But please, if you actually want to give it the good treatment, give it the X-Files treatment or the Next Generation treatment, because both of those shows got nice HD treatments. Okay?
As I recall, the show did not have well, I mean, it did have some special effects, I suppose, but it was so story-driven and character-driven. The effects weren't that important.
Yeah, here's what it is about effects. And I liked what they did with TNG. I'm going to use them as the example. With TNG, they said they could have made the effects better than they looked on the old show, but they said they want to stay true to the spirit of what people remembered watching. So they still had to recreate them for HD, but they wanted to keep them the same look. Yeah. Same for the X-Files. They don't go nuts with the effects on the X-Files. They look like the effects I saw in the old show, but they're made so they don't look too jarring when you see it in HD and you see, oh, well, that kind of looks like something that was made in
I just think definition. About there's a scene that's shown. It was from the first season, and it was a scene that was seen repeatedly in the opening credits where Clark is putting his arms around the football player to protect him from an explosion.
Yeah.
And it's very, very layered. You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
The explosion is separate from him, which is separate from the background. I mean, anybody who knows even the tiniest bit about special effects knows, I know exactly how that scene was done. And you don't give a flying fig. It's like, I get the storyline. That's all that's important. I don't need to believe that Tom Welling, had his back to, explosive flames.
Part of the charm of Smallville were kind of some of the tacky effects. Like whenever someone would attack them with a metal object and the metal object would splinter apart. And I'm thinking, for starters, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Right. But it's part of the charm of the show. Okay.
Honestly, it's no different than George Reeve in The Adventures of Superman. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, it wasn't about the special effects. It was about the story. You know
what I'm thinking too? In a way, it was sort of, in a way, paying an homage to the effects from the original Superman movies, which in their defense, a lot of them for their time were very good, but they're not holding up as well as the effects like, say, in Star Wars. Okay.
You gotta admit that the flying effects in the first Superman movie were second to none.
Oh, they're excellent. No, those are excellent. I'm thinking like the stuff with the Phantom Zone and General Zod.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. And the cellophane S and that kind of stupid bullshit.
They duplicated that on Smallville when he got stuck in the Phantom Zone. It was the whole mirror thing where he's stuck and it flies up. Like, yes, they didn't have to do that. They're not embarrassed of the legacy. That's what I like.
Exactly.
About Smallville, okay?
I loved it.
And I am happy it's coming to Blu-ray. I never thought this would happen. I thought that, especially because of all the horrible controversy surrounding, unfortunately, some of the whole sex cult thing with some of the actors, they thought that put a shade on the show, and that Warner Brothers was going to let it rot in a vault somewhere. So the fact that they're actually going to the trouble of bringing this out,
it's not like it was. I mean, if it had been any of the other actresses on the show, it might have mattered, but. As much as I liked her, she was one of the most minor characters,
Yeah, but they did add her to the comic book lore eventually, Chloe Sullivan. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
there was an argument on that show that Chloe Sullivan couldn't die because she kept surviving, like especially in that one part where we thought Lionel Luthor basically took her out and then she survived it. Remember that one?
Well,
finale?
Wouldn't that have been an interesting twist if they had gone that route and it turned out, yeah, she had superpowers too. She had immortality.
She was a meteor. She was a meteor freak or something.
And she didn't even know it, right?
You never know. What I wanted to say though, but I will say that Smallville was always in widescreen. Okay, they started shooting shows in widescreen at that point, so I don't think we're gonna have to worry about any camera people on the side of the screen.
Yeah, right.
You can still mess things up picture-wise though, and mess up color timing and all sorts of things. One of the worst transfers on DVD, and I love the series, but the Dark Shadows series from the 90s, they did a terrible transfer of that on DVD.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
There's scenes with him walking around in daylight and people pick on it and they don't always know the color timing. They did shoot for night, but it actually looked like night on the old series. When they remastered it for DVD, they somehow messed that up and it looks like he's walking around in daylight.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
And but I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I'll tell you, Warner Brothers did an excellent job, I think, with the Samurai Jack set. And they did an excellent job with I have this set myself, the Batman the Animated Series remaster. which I think I got for around 40 something bucks. Came with the entire series on Blu-ray plus 2 of the movies for like 40 something dollars, and it came with a digital copy of everything as well. So you have the best of both worlds. And I'm like, hey, I'll pick that up. I'll double dip on that. Okay.
Sure.
So I keep my fingers crossed on Smallville. It's in my opinion, one of the great television series of the 2000s, the aughts, and I'm looking forward to it coming back. And I'll probably be picking this up at some point. So yeah, okay, that's it.
And you'll have watched all the special behind the scenes extra features, so that we got something to talk about when I do my rewatches on my channel.
That's true. I'll mention that. I'll do that if I have access to the show. I'll see if I can watch the special features. By the way, I want to mention they said that seasons 1 through 4, even if they're only upsampled, I'm thinking it's only 1 through 4.
Yeah.
The show gets good when it gets to season 5, in my opinion. Okay, season 4, that was the season where Lana was like possessed by her ancestor that was a witch.
Oh God.
The witch season.
Yeah.
And Jane Seymour, I think, was on it as also a witch.
I mean, let's face it,
that
I
was
love
so
Jane
bad.
Seymour, but oh my God, that storyline was just ridiculous.
The only good thing about the season was that Lois Lane shows up.
This is
Because
why
everything else about that season, I'm like,
I've been doing that series on my channel about,
Yes.
rethinking Smallville, and how you're absolutely right. I mean, there's some great things about it, but there's also some, I think 10 seasons was way too much. I think you could trim it down.
Oh,
We've watched a handful of episodes
Only
and
3.
several of them I was like, you could cut out the whole A plot from this one and the whole B plot from this one and put these 2 episodes together,
Oh yeah.
Several of them, I was like, you could totally do away with the Meteor Freak story. This character could absolutely be a villain without having special powers.
Sorry, there's a clause in your writing contract. He has to be a meteor freak. Okay, this comes to the higher ups. Okay, and season 4. By the time we got to the end of season 4, you know what I was saying in my head? I was saying, shit or get off the pot. Okay,
Yeah.
Because at this point we'd had no major villains except for maybe Lionel Luthor, who, let's be honest here, he's a stand-in for Lex Luthor because we can't have Lex Luthor become the villain yet. We have none of the other villains on the show, and I'm like, what's going on here? Season 5, we get a 1-2 punch of villains from the Phantom Zone and Brainiac, and I'm like, okay, now things are going to improve, okay? And they did. Okay.
Kinda. Yeah, they did.
We get other superheroes.
There's
showing
a
up,
lot
like
of
Aquaman.
things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we got from Smallville lore that I felt was, it may not have been 100% faithful to the comic book lore, but in some ways it elevated it. The whole idea with Brainiac being an artificial intelligence from Krypton, well, that's worked its way into the comics now. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I could get behind this. I actually like that. That's not a bad idea.
They started that with Superman, the animated series, and I think they wanted to do something similar what Richard Donner did with the original Superman, where you introduce Zod early on and then you forget about him. With this, they wanted to have Brainiac. They wanted a threat from Krypton. So they had Brainiac actually be from Krypton, and Brainiac, the creepy thing about that episode, the pilot episode, is Brainiac knows the planet's going to get blow up, and it's purposely lying to the council and making Jor-El look like a fool. Okay,
that's interesting.
And he's like, I know he's lying, and he says Brainiac can't lie. They're telling him you're ridiculous. Brainiac was lying because he says there's not enough time for us to evacuate Krypton, but I can still save myself. Okay, and. And Jor-El was angry and almost was going to shoot Brainiac and blow him up. And he says, watch your temper, Jor-El, because, you destroy me, there won't even be a memory of Krypton left. I'm at least the repository of all its knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah.
And so he leaves him alone and has to go back to send, young Kal-El off to Earth.
So as I rethink, our DC cinematic universe, I would like to see kind of a relationship between Brainiac and the Eradicator from the John Byrne era.
Oh, okay.
You remember the Eradicator was the before they decided that Brainiac was an AI from Krypton. The Eradicator was an AI from Krypton who became the Kryptonite Man, during the Death of Superman era.
Interesting.
It would be very, very interesting to connect those two, and I think it could be done very elegantly.
And to be fair, I don't mind. I like the other origin for Brainiac too, with him being an invader too of Krypton. That was interesting as well. So I'm not trying to say one's better than the other. I thought they both.
Well,
worked
but
in
you don't
different
have to
ways.
give up
Yeah.
the connection to Kolu either, because remember, throughout Brainiac's history, he has kind of inhabited other individuals to take a physical presence. You know, one of those aliens could very well be from the planet Kolu, and he's got green skin and whatever. If you want to, follow that
And
course.
he just merges with whatever, I guess. Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there you go. DR Designs Network here. Welcome. Good to see you.
Hey, D.R. Isley, how's it going?
Seen you for a while, but good to see you.
Or Dr. Y.
Keep my fingers crossed for that Smallville re-release.
Yeah,
and
I'm
with
looking forward
that,
to that.
we're at the 11 o'clock mark, so I guess we should be wrapping this up.
There we go.
What's
That's
going
all
on
I got
this
on my
week?
notes.
This week on Wednesday, I will be doing on soundtracks. I'll be on soundtracks with Birdman, Birdman and Big Al. We are going to be doing a rewatch of The Burbs. This was my selection because I always feel The Burbs is a great end of summer movie. Okay, I remember seeing it for the first time before I entered the 7th grade, and it's about Tom Hanks being a guy on summer vacation and not being able to enjoy himself because he doesn't trust his creepy neighbors. Okay. So it's a spooky movie. It's a spooky horror comedy movie, but I really do see it as a summer flick. So that's why we're watching that one.
Cool.
Okay. And Friday, what are we doing, Troy? I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I mean, we've talked about Smallville. Maybe I'll go back to Smallville, but
We could do Smallville in celebration of the announcement. Pick a couple episodes. I better make sure it's still on Hulu. They probably took it away from me. Okay. This is why I need the physical
this is
series.
why you need to own physical media, so that's why you're looking forward to those Blu-rays.
I have purposely held off on Smallville because I said I could get I know at the end of the show they release it all on DVD, but I'm like, I want to wait and see if there's going to be a Blu-ray release. I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray, and now they've made the announcement, so I may have to honor my commitment unless they really screw it up. Keep your fingers crossed that they'll. I have a feeling they don't want to do that, though, and I don't think they will do that. So let's keep the faith, and hopefully, even if it's just upscaling of the first 4 seasons, just make sure the color looks good, and I'll be happy. Okay, yeah,
fair enough.
Looking forward to it. All right.
So Wednesday, Friday, next Saturday over on Big Al's channel. I think you'll be there, right?
Yes, next Saturday I will be on there for the Sword of the Valiant rewatch.
There you go.
Okay, so that'll be cool. All right.
And that brings us full circle.
All right, so we'll catch you again later. And DR, whenever you can catch us, DR Wisely. The stream is always on YouTube. I also posted on Rumble, and I try to do clip videos when I can. Okay, so
yeah, you know what, and that's the other thing too. If you guys are enjoying the show and you really want to, I mean, I know you guys hit the like button, you guys have commented here in the stream, but you know what? If you can leave a comment later on down below, that also helps the channel a great deal. Super appreciate if you did that.
I left a comment on Netter's stream last night after it was over. You know what I said?
What'd you say?
I said the story is true! Exclamation point. Last word.
Okay. That's fair.
Catch you guys later. Okay. Take care. Have a good night, y'all.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.